Fellow Barbadians, we are in the middle of a general election season that we really did not expect for another 18 months. But we are grateful of the opportunity to share with you the message of the Democratic Labour Party. For decades, and indeed since our inception, our philosophy has not changed. How we interpret it and how we implement it on behalf of our people is what has changed over time. Because if you review the policies of the Democratic Labour Party, you will notice that they have as an overarching feature the development of our people. And that is why you can accredit the Democratic Labour Party with major changes such as the national insurance, universal education for our people, that land reform came under the Democratic Labour Party, and most importantly, so much social engineering came to being, including the new Family Law Act, the Domestic Violence Act, so many pieces of legislation to deal with employment rights, all piloted by the Democratic Labour Party. We made a lot of changes in the last 3.5 years, but our philosophy has not changed. We've determined that we will do better going forward. And part of that drive was to choose candidates who were of a caliber that we could present credibly to you. You have seen us on our platforms during this campaign, and you have had the opportunity to evaluate them. I don't want to single them out by name, but I do wish to speak to the diversity of talent that we have amongst us. We have teachers of different disciplines and across the spectrum, ranging from primary education right up to tertiary. We have doctors and lawyers and engineers, but we also have artisans amongst us, because all of these skills are definitely necessary in the exercise of nation building. We need together to decide at this point in time in our history where it is we want to go. And all of these skills will assist us in making these determinations. Because if there is one thing that COVID has taught us, is that we need to be doing things differently. We had a plan and a program as a country that took us so far. But what we recognize now is that there were weaknesses in the system and that there is no time like the present to make those adjustments. Funnily enough, before COVID became a reality in Barbados, the Democratic Labour Party was considering a new direction. In January of 2020, at the Errol Barrow Memorial Lecture, the Democratic Labour Party laid out a roadmap for reimagining a new Barbados. And the hallmark of that was a focus and an emphasis on the development of our people. This is critical and came into sharp focus during COVID, when we saw under the outgoing administration so many provisions that propped up businesses, but very few that assisted our people. Matter of fact, we can point to some that definitely did harm to our people in terms of not extending unemployment benefits when it was clear that COVID was going to have a negative impact on our economy. The sunset legislation with the Severance Payments Act that caused several of you to lose that entitlement. And of course, the BOSS program that pays some of you civil servants by way of bonds, which were completely discredited under the BERT program. So we know that you, Barbados, you are ready for this new direction. And this is why, in considering an overarching theme for our campaign, we knew that One Barbados was all that you wanted to hear about. Because we have been feeling the divisions in our society. We have been suffering because of it. And it is abundantly clear that we cannot go forward like this. All of our social fabric is tearing at the seams. We watch our education system crumble and melt before our very eyes. Our young people more and more involved in antisocial behavior. And we see nothing coming forward in terms of policies for the redirection of our youth. Bearing in mind that they are the future of our country, it is incumbent upon us at this stage to do all that is necessary to arrest this change and not just arrest our young people. And so the focus of the Democratic Labour Party going forward will have social engineering as its bedrock. We recognize that we will still need to have a social safety net for those who fall through the cracks. But we have made provisioning that will revolutionize the welfare system in Barbados, bringing a completely new thinking to how we deal with those who are at the bottom of society and deserving of a hand up and help to get them to a better place. We've seen the weaknesses in our education system, and we have come up with a plan for that too, to make sure that primary education really does have that focus and that we pay attention to those things that will cement the future for our young people as they build into the secondary and tertiary levels of their education. And at the secondary level, to ensure that entrepreneurship and financial smarts are built into our curriculum. At present, we learn all about hire purchase. We learn a little bit about interest, but we don't teach our students how to invest. We don't teach them what is required for the startup of a business. And these are loopholes because it is very clear that the micro, small, and medium-sized businesses are the ones that will pull us out of the recession that we are in right now. The major pillars of our society are floundering, and they too have already received their assistance. And it is time for the average Barbadian to receive their just due. And so the Democratic Labour Party, in promoting One Barbados, in pointing Barbados in a different direction, invites each one of you to come along with us on this journey. It starts on the 19th of January, but up until now, we have been doing the groundwork. It may not have seemed that way, but our candidates have been on the ground doing their work, meeting you, getting to build relationships, learning your families, understanding your issues so that we could come up with credible solutions. And that moment of time has come for us a little bit sooner than we all thought, and in conditions that we did not expect, because we didn't think that COVID would be such a virulent state in the middle of a general election. But we face it with all the courage that we know that we have inherited from our forefathers. And we will remain steadfast in our commitment to changing Barbados, changing its face, pointing it in a new direction, while still upholding those firm beliefs and philosophy that grounded us all these years. And I invite you, Barbados, to come along with us on this journey. Vote on the 19th of January for that change that we so desperately need and that the Democratic Labour Party is offering to Barbados. On Thursday of this week, we will release our manifesto. And I want you to take a careful and critical read of it. We are not afraid of you picking it apart and asking questions. We want you to do that so that we can explain our positions, expand on it for you, and of course, take your considerations on board as well. This is a journey together, Barbados. This is One Barbados going forward. And I look forward to being at your service come the 20th of January, along with my team of candidates, young but capable and energetic and willing and able to represent you and our country. I thank you.
Greetings, my friends, especially my friends located in St. Michael South Central, the constituency that I am contesting in the upcoming general election in Barbados in 2022. I'm very proud to be part of the Democratic Labour Party team. And even though we regret that we have to have this election altogether, we would have much preferred to have been contesting an election in a period when one could have moved around a lot freer. I still am hopeful and expect to be the parliamentary representative for St. Michael South Central. I'm also proud to be part of the team, the DLP team that has been assembled by my friend Verla, who you heard from already. The Democratic Labour Party has put together experience, has put together exciting young talent, and we are ready to contribute meaningfully to the national development process in Barbados. We, on the other side, we see where interests, personal interests, political interests, has now trumped the national interests. And that, therefore, only further explains why it is necessary that you come out and vote for the Democratic Labour Party. We are saying One Barbados. That's the theme of the Democratic Labour Party in this election. The theme that simply gives hope to those out there who see some citizens getting ahead, but who also see themselves closer and closer to the margin. The Barbados Labour Party, interesting, their slogan is suggesting that it is safer with Mia. Now, if indeed it's safer, why are we engaging in a general election campaign when we are seeing the highest levels of infections from the COVID-19 virus? As a matter of fact, over 500 a day in some instances, just under 500 in other instances. And we are hearing that if indeed these individuals are COVID positive and asymptomatic, they still can be disenfranchised. We're talking about numbers that could be in the thousands. Something is definitely wrong. And I don't accept that it is safer with Mia. I believe that, as a matter of fact, we have two Barbadoses and it's getting worse, and we need to have one Barbados again. The election call was made in December 2021. The same day, the same month, rather, that the International Monetary Fund completed an Article 4 consultation on Barbados. The news is stark. They're saying that an ambitious plan, that's their word, not mine, is required for Barbados to get through this economic crisis that we're in. Tough decisions have to be made. As a matter of fact, the Prime Minister herself, upon alighting from the nomination center in St. Michael Northeast, made the point that tough choices have to be taken, difficult decisions. And if these decisions are going to result in austerity for all Barbadians, we have to ask ourselves, what will become of our standard of living? It has already been eroded. And I must tell you, I'm not confident that on the basis of the track record for the last 3.5 years and the clear and present divisions that have been exaggerated, encouraged, and embellished by this government, I'm not confident that any austerity program is going to be applied in any manner that is fair. I think that just look even at the present situation. We haven't got into the second IMF program. I'm assuming that this extended fund facility that expires in October of this year is going to have to be replaced by another one. if we are to understand what they're saying in the Article 4 consultation, because things are really bad at the macroeconomic level. But at the micro level, consumers, for example, have never seen it like this. The cost of living is outrageous in Barbados. What $250 would have gotten for you in 2018, you probably need $500 for now. And that is no exaggeration. Someone sent me that only today in a communication. And I think you could even, the words of the last election that suggested they were caring, they said, Mia cares. If you care, it rings hollow for the ordinary worker, wage earner in this country. Words that probably resonate more. Go back to the 1980s when Peter Lovell, PJ, uttered those classical words in the form of a song. Rice gone up, fish gone up, meat gone up, flour gone up, chicken gone up. Everything gone up, but me salary put back. That is what is the real experience of ordinary Barbadians. And we're hearing that they have some plan to, all of a sudden, 3 years in the midst of a general election campaign, days away from when their people are supposed to vote, they're telling us that they have a plan to make shipping costs more affordable, and that will cascade down to the consumer where they can get more affordable groceries. But again, more hollow promises. Don't take any chances. Someone fools you once, that is one thing, but don't let them fool you twice. We have a situation where unemployment is at a record high. In 2018, it was down to 7 or 8%. It's now at 16%. And according to the governor of the central bank, that's a conservative estimate. In other words, it's even higher than that. What about those people looking for work? What are their options? What are they supposed to do, even if they get some form of assistance from the welfare department or otherwise? What are they supposed to do, given the prices that we are seeing in Barbados at the corner shops and in the supermarkets, the cost of living? I think people are tired of all the talk, all of the PR, all the theatrics, all the pageantry, all the photo ops. People want something real. And the Democratic Labour Party is offering an interesting program that will see, once again, we get our economy moving. You know, at the personal level, I'm hurt to hear that the Sandals project, planned for St. Peter, is now not likely to start until 2024 or 2025. Sandals is too busy doing projects elsewhere, multiple projects across the Caribbean, but they're not doing it here in Barbados. The same Sandals Resorts International, the Barbados Labour Party bragging in a manifesto, they plan to put 44 rooms at their existing hotel here in St. Lawrence in Barbados. That's not on. The major project is what should be on. I mean, we welcome the expansion to Sandals Casuarina, but we really should be seeing the big project taking place in St. Peter. So investment beyond that is down. Why is it that other territories in the Caribbean are able to get investment going, are able to get moving with their economy, but the only thing we can do is put illustrations in a Barbados Labour Party manifesto? Nobody's benefiting from that. No contractors, no workers, no tradesmen ain't getting any benefit from that. And all this talk has been promised for some time. We all remember the site visit to Bay Street when the Prime Minister promised that Hyatt would be going in a few months' time. It didn't start yet. What is the problem? And why is it that the leadership seems just so obsessed with imagery and not actually making things happen? And the few things that are happening are things that were not even started by this government. Apart from tourism investment, we have to get our product going. This government has been recalcitrant on the issue of UNESCO, the UNESCO inscription of historic Bridgetown and its garrison. A wonderful opportunity to market this country around the world, because that is a treasure. That's something that many countries would love to have. We have a UNESCO inscripted site, and it should be marketed along with all of our other product offerings. They've done nothing in the last 3 years in this respect, and now we are hearing now that they have a plan to innovate within the context of tourism. I don't believe it. The markets that we had diversified in the last government, the source markets, are still lagging. The pandemic presents some interesting opportunities, and yet we are not seeing it. Get tourism going, and you can then pivot into some other areas, other services that can also earn much needed foreign exchange. Our ports of entry, the airport and the seaport, both have exciting possibilities to be logistics hubs for the entire hemisphere. What is being done about that? Nothing is being done about that, but I can tell you, plans were left. Plans were left in 2018, and in fact, work had already started in terms of the modernization and the expansion of the infrastructure at both of those ports of entry. So we believe if a proper approach is taken to getting our foreign exchange earning sectors, growing agriculture, growing energy opportunities for green energy, the international business sector that twins naturally with tourism. If we can get all of those sectors going, we can start to earn our way and not have to borrow our way. We've borrowed almost $900 million from the IMF alone and still borrowed money from other international organizations. That can't continue. It is not sustainable. And that's why the Democratic Labour Party has come to all Barbadians and say, look, let's come together and form a plan that everyone can benefit from. It will be one Barbados. In St. Michael South Central, we have extended that theme, and we have focused on the fact that this campaign is about you. And that's what it really is. It's about you. And when I say that, again, I mean everyone. So we don't have a plan that says, okay, big business interests, large financiers of the Barbados Labour Party cause, that they should benefit. Meanwhile, the tourism workers on the front line, the hewers of wood and the drawers of water, that they are left on the margins to just look and peep on the inside to see what's happening, where nurses are mistreated, having done so much for so many over the years, not being paid enough. And on top of that, you put in a pandemic where they literally are risking their lives on a daily basis in order to keep us well looked after. We need to also bring them into the mix so that we can have a Barbados where everybody feels that they have a place in the Barbadian society. So I want to encourage all of you to come out in your numbers and send a signal to this government. It is not safer when you engage in reckless behavior, in reckless decisions, in decisions that are only to serve a few. It is not safer that way. It is safer when you put your affairs in the hands of someone who sees it about everyone. One Barbados. Because after all, it's about you. Vote for Richard Seeley in St. Michael South Central. Vote for the Democratic Labour Party in this general election. I thank you.